Welcome to Daily Video Vocabulary. A dose of daily new English phrases and words. Brought to you by podcast.com. Hello English learners, welcome to Daily Video Vocabulary, episode 22. Today's new word is favor. So, what exactly is a favor? Let's find out what it means, and learn how to use this word in your daily conversation. Favor is something a person does for you. Or you can say, favor is a small helpful thing that somebody does for someone. For example, can you pass me a pencil? Or can you pick me up on your way to work? These are all small favors we generally ask for in our daily life. Now, let's look at some example sentences on how to ask a favor. Because we have to do this oftenly, either at work or with your friends.
Example 1.
Sorry to interrupt you, Peter. Would you do me a quick favor in solving this exercise?
Example 2.
Thank you very much for your help. I will return the favor.
Example 3.
He wouldn't take any money for this presentation. He insisted he was doing it as a favor.
Example 4. Darling, it would be a great favor if you could get some milk on your way home.
Hello, English learners. Welcome to Daily Video Vocabulary, episode 23. In today's episode, we have a new phrase for you. Jump on the bandwagon. Or you can say, jumping on the bandwagon. Let's find out what this phrase means, and how you can use it in your daily conversation. Jump on the bandwagon. Let's first talk about the word bandwagon. Well, bandwagon means something that everyone is doing or following. For example, if everyone is liking the color purple, and even you like purple, that means you just jumped on the bandwagon. Joining on the bandwagon means to do similar things what others are doing. Or you can say, you follow or agree with what others are doing. In short, you are going in the same direction as others. Wagon is like a car. In old days, people traveled by a wagon made of wood and had wheels. Horses would pull the wagon. For example, everyone is on the wagon and you are not on it, and you just jumped on the back of the wagon, means you joined them, you are going in the same direction with them. Well, I am sure now you are clear with what this phrase means. Now let's look at some example sentences on how you can use this phrase in your daily conversation.
Example 1.
John doesn't have any original ideas. He just jumps on the bandwagon and does what everyone else is doing.
Example 2.
After the Apple iPad came out, all the other companies jumped on the touchscreen tablet bandwagon.
Example 3.
I'm glad I didn't jump on the real estate bandwagon. Or else I would have been in debt.
Example 4.
After your school results, choose the field that interests you. Just don't jump the bandwagon with your friends.
Example 5.
I've finally jumped on the bandwagon and got an iPhone. This is the first tweet from the new phone. Hello English learners. Welcome to Daily Video Vocabulary, episode 24. I have a new phrase for you today. Take on board. To take on board. Let's find out what it means, and how you can use this phrase in your daily conversation. Take on board. Or you can say, to take on board something. let's take an example here.
I'm glad you took on board my feedback on marketing strategies. I am happy with the results.
Well, to take on board means to understand and accept ideas, suggestions, feedback, or even an opinion, and use it or implement in the near future for better results. This phrase is best used in a business setting. Generally, team members take on board ideas and suggestions from their team leaders or managers for productive results. Now, let's look at some example sentences to understand this phrase better, and how you can use this phrase in your conversation the next time.
Example 1.
The government finally took on board Anna Hazare's ideas to draft the Lokpal bill to fight corruption.
Example 2.
It seems that young people are finally taking on board the message that it's not cool to smoke.
Example 3.
Banks really need to take on board the feedback of their customers to understand them better.
Example 4.
John is not the type of person who might take on board any feedback. Welcome to Daily Video Vocabulary, episode 25. In today's episode, I have an idiom for you. Pull your socks up. Or you can say, to pull your socks up. This sounds to be a strange idiom. Let's find out what it means, and how to use it in your daily conversation. Pull your socks up. To pull your socks up. This is an idiom used in an informal situation to tell someone to behave properly. Or, if you think someone should improve the way they are behaving, or the way they are doing something. This idiom can also be used to warn someone to perform better. You can also say, pull up your socks, if you're unsatisfied with someone and want them to do better or improve at something. Note one thing. You should only say this idiom to someone, such as your child, your student, your employee, or possibly to a friend. You shouldn't say it to someone like your boss, your teacher, your parents, or anyone you should speak to respectfully. Now, let's look at some example sentences on how to make use of this idiom in your daily conversation.
Example 1.
The government pulled its socks up by sacking the cabinet minister after he faced corruption charges to save the party's image.
Example 2.
John will lose his job unless he pulls his socks up and starts doing a lot better.
Example 3.
The coach asked the player to pull his socks up, or he will lose a spot in the soccer team.
Example 4.
It's not okay that you always arrive late, you need to pull your socks.
Example 5.
The teacher told Mary to pull her socks up because her grades weren't good. Hello English learners. Welcome to Daily Video Vocabulary, episode 26. In today's episode, I have an idiom for you. All hell broke loose. This sounds to be a strange idiom to me. Come, let's find out what it means, and how to use this idiom in your daily conversation. All hell broke loose. This is an idiom used to describe something that went out of control without any notice. It basically means a situation becoming violent, or you can say out of control, because of something happened suddenly. You can use the idiom all hell broke loose to describe a situation or something that went drastically wrong without any notice. I am sure you are now clear with what all hell broke loose means. Now, let's look at some example sentences to understand the use of this idiom in your daily conversation.
Example 1.
I was walking through the station on my way to work, when I heard this huge explosion, and then, all hell broke loose.
Example 2.
All hell broke loose, when Mary found out that, she was going to be terminated from her job.
Example 3.
Everything was fine in the stadium, until someone yelled, "Fire," and then, all hell broke loose, as people started running and screaming, and pushed each other.
Example 4.
John pushed the police officer, who was questioning him, and all hell broke loose.
Example 5.
All hell broke loose, after a young girl pulled out a gun, in the departmental store. Hello English learners, welcome to Daily Video Vocabulary, episode 27. In today's episode, I have an idiom for you, back to square one. Have you heard this idiom before? Do you know what it means? Come, let's find out its meaning, and how to use it, in your daily conversation. Back to square one. This is an idiom used to describe some activity that failed, and you had to start working on it from the beginning. So, if you are back to square one, it means you have to start something from the beginning again. In short, you have to stop and start again, because something isn't working as well as expected. To give you an example, you have to start working on a business plan from the beginning, because your previous attempt failed, and the effort and progress you made is now wasted. This idiom probably comes from board games, like Snake and Ladder, in which players start the game from the first square on the board, or square one. Alright, now let's look at some example sentences, to understand the use of back to square one, in your daily conversation.
Example 1.
I was going to start a new company next month, but I am back to square one now. The bank has refused me a business loan.
Example 2.
Explaining Uncle Peter is no use. He will be back to square one, with his drinking habits.
Example 3.
John was back to square one, after his computer crashed. He lost all his presentation files.
Example 4.
The architect was back to square one, after her designs were rejected by the municipal corporation for violating environmental norms.
Example 5.
John, our dress designs were not accepted.
Well, it's time for us to go back to square one, and figure out some new designs. Hello English learners, welcome to Daily Video Vocabulary, episode 28. In today's episode, I have an idiom for you. Bear the brunt. This looks to be an interesting idiom. Do you know what it means? Come, let's find out what it means, and how to use it, in your daily conversation. Bear the brunt. So, if you bear the brunt of something, it means you suffer the worst. Or you can say, you bear the impact or the effects of something. It basically means receiving the worst part of something unpleasant or harmful. For example, an attack or an accident. So, when you bear the brunt, you get the greater amount or larger part of something really bad, often of a criticism or unpleasant event. Alright, now let's look at some example sentences, to understand the use of bear the brunt, in your daily conversation.
Example 1.
Robert bore the brunt of the crash, because he was right at the front of the car.
Example 2.
Mary had to bear the brunt, for losing an important client, as she didn't email the job order on time.
Example 3.
People living in the low-lying areas of Mumbai always have to bear the brunt of heavy rains.
Example 4.
Ordinary citizens will bear the brunt of higher taxes.
Example 5.
The team's coach bore the brunt of criticism because the players he selected performed badly.
Example 6.
Towns that bear the brunt of floods are usually those that are located close to a river. Hello English learners, welcome to Daily Video Vocabulary, episode 29. In today's episode, I have an idiom for you. To drop a bombshell. Do you know what it means? Well, I am going to teach you how to drop a bombshell on someone. Come, let's find out what this idiom means, and how you can drop a bombshell in your daily conversation. Drop a bombshell, or you can say, to drop a bombshell. If you drop a bombshell, you announce some shocking or disturbing news. By dropping a bombshell, you announce something that changes a situation drastically and unexpectedly. It basically means to make an unexpected or shattering announcement. In other words, to say something that was least expected by anyone. In short, dropping a bombshell means revealing sensationally shocking, surprising, or amazing information that disturbs everyone. This idiom is basically originated from the destruction caused by a falling bomb, and came in use during the World War I, where the use of a bomb was made for the first time. Alright. Now let's look at some example sentences on how to drop a bombshell in your daily conversation.
Example 1.
The Indian Premier League Administration Board dropped a bombshell when they announced that they have sacked Lalit Modi.
Example 2.
Our boss dropped a bombshell today when he told us that our company is going public, and we're all getting 1,000 shares for a bonus.
Example 3.
How did your girlfriend take it when you dropped the bombshell about breaking up with her?
Example 4.
The chairman dropped a bombshell when he announced the merger with the company's biggest rival.
Example 5.
The college dropped a bombshell by denying admission to the students who secured less than 75% marks in their final exams. Hello English learners, welcome to Daily Video Vocabulary, episode 30. In today's episode, I have an idiom for you. An eye-opener. Do you know what it means? Come, let's find out what this idiom means, and how you can use it in your daily conversation. An eye-opener. It was an eye-opener. Well, we all see with open eyes, and learn from things around us by observing. But in life, we face certain incidents suddenly or by surprise. These incidents make us learn new things. We learn these things suddenly, or by surprise. You can say, something is an eye-opener, if it made you realize something you hadn't been aware of before. If you describe something as an eye-opener, you mean that it surprises you, and that you learn something new from it, or you can say, a situation that shows you, or teaches you something surprising that you did not know before. In short, an eye-opener means something that surprises you and teaches you new facts about life or people. In other context, an eye-opener also means a drink of liquor taken to stimulate, especially upon awakening. Alright, now let's look at some example sentences on how to use eye-opener in your daily conversation.
Example 1.
Al Gore's film, An Inconvenient Truth, was a real eye-opener for me. I hadn't really understood how serious global warming was until I saw it.
Example 2.
Mary said her trip to Thailand was quite an eye-opener for her. She'd never realized before how beautiful Thailand was, or how friendly the people were.
Example 3.
The manager's presentation on cloud computing was an eye-opener. One can carry his computer on the go.
Example 4.
The nuclear crisis in Japan was an eye-opener to the nuclear safety and emergency response systems in many countries.
Example 5.
Writing these scripts has been quite an eye-opener to me. It proves that one can do anything if the need is urgent.
Example 6.
Jenny and the other kids went on their first visit to the zoo today, and it was a real eye-opener for them. They had never seen animals like that before.